women are supposed to, we're receivers.
Yes.
We receive the sperm, we give you a baby.
Yes.
You give us a house, we give you a home.
Yes, you are the multipliers.
But women have been getting the
what you
house.
receive.
Women
Yeah.
have been giving. But what happens when you receive like that, you become feminine. That's why men are constantly, because they're receiving. So they become feminine. And the woman is walking around masculine, getting the house, the job.
It was almost like a list. You know, you get a good job, you go to college, or you go into the service. You know, you buy a house and you marry. And it wasn't their immediate goal, but it was on the list. But I think now, because there are so many things that you can accomplish without being married, that there isn't as much of a focus, I would say, as it pertains to men. Now, as a Black woman, when I was divorced 8 years before Thomas and I reconnected, and I accomplished many things. I went to school, I advanced in my career, but when I was in my peer group, all I heard about was, when are you going to find a husband?
5 for the last time. 4, 3.
Action.
Welcome back. I'm Heath.
I'm Bernie.
And it's the Heath and Bernie Show. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We have guests today.
Yay!
We have in our studio the wonderful Mr. and Mrs. Norris, Mr. Thomas Norris.
Yeah.
Mrs. Angela Norris. I knew that.
I know you knew
I know.
that.
I told you my brain is
got a lot
slow.
going
I got a lot on my
You're
mind.
gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right.
Yeah. Okay, so let me put a disclaimer. I might get a couple things backwards today because I have a whole lot going on in my mind.
He gets dyslexia. Is that the right term?
That's the right word.
Because when he have a lot on his mind, when
Stuff
up,
be bit backwards.
he'll say up, but he mean down. He'll say right, but he mean left.
Yeah.
So I'll be correcting that all day.
I was like, I know Norris, but the first name is escaping me. But Thomas and Angela are our friends. Me and Thomas go way back. Why don't you introduce yourselves, please, Mr. and Miss Norris?
Again, my name is Thomas Norris. I work with Heath and known Heath for,
It's been almost 15 years.
Man, you know, it's funny that you're still messing things up on mics. You know, had a story about that, but I'm not going to go there because that's a previous time in a previous relationship where I was introduced as Dr. Norris. I've never been a doctor. Never been to school to be a doctor. Never played one in the backyard, nothing.
That's called, don't ask me to do something at the last minute if I'm not prepared. That's all I'm saying.
But you would think this guy, you see him, you see how well he does this, that's what he would be. He would be able to bring that same level to any other thing. But
nope, you would think that.
Not at all.
I am Angela. And I am happy to be here. I met the Wiggins through my wonderful husband, Thomas, and I look forward to our conversation today.
All right. Good. All right.
You wanted Thomas and Angela to come on the show because they are Thomas was a big inspiration for this show from the Giddy Up. He and I did another podcast together. He and I did another podcast together at Elevation Global Media Group. Just his energy on the show was, I think, what made the show success that it was.
Yes, definitely.
And I was like, we need to do a podcast together. And then his wonderful wife, Angela, how long have y'all been married?
We are going on our 4th year.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So y'all were newly married at the time.
Yes.
And so we had a husbands and wives podcast one time, and it just went really, really well.
One of the best podcasts you've never seen, unfortunately.
It was a wonderful conversation.
It was a wonderful conversation.
We never released it. Or I never released it. I'll say that. I put the responsibility on me. Just some things came up and we just never released it. So I was like,
and now we can't, right?
No, we can't. We can't.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to bring them back on the show and have them come back periodically because I think we create great conversations.
Yes,
and Thomas is hilarious. Thomas is a budding stand-up comedian.
All the time.
So I just want to say,
Love it.
Don't let these people lie to you, ladies and gentlemen.
Y'all see.
You'll see.
Right. So we have a game that we want to play with you all that we didn't tell you all about.
See, I don't like this.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Y'all know he.
So because couples are focusing so much on bills, businesses, babies, and the Bible, and they don't prioritize fun, Bernie and I kind of are shepherding this podcast so that it is a conduit of fun havings for couples.
Right.
Okay.
And so we can't just come over here and talk about stuff and talk about relationship stuff and stuff. We have to have fun in the process.
Yes.
So we have a game that I created in one of my events that I've done years and years ago.
Oh my goodness.
And so what I'm going to ask, so it's called Scenario.
Okay.
And the purpose of the game is to give a scenario that one of the partners is going to know and the others is not going to know. And then that partner who knows the scenario has to act out the scenario with their spouse in real time, like they normally would have a regular conversation. And you have to respond in kind the way that you would in a normal conversation. So what we're going to do is give Mr. Norris the scenario, and we're going to ask Angela to put on her headphones. I'm going to turn on some music.
Okay.
So she cannot hear. I'm going to give Thomas the scenario, and then he's going to act out the scenario with his wife.
Oh boy.
Oh wow. Okay.
So
Let me
if you
get my
would please,
headphones.
Angela,
See,
put
I
don upon thine headphones.
I knew these headphones was for a purpose and that it wasn't going.
Action.
Welcome back. We are back. We have given Thomas the scenario, and what we're going to do, again, as a reminder, Thomas is going to act out the scenario that I've given him with Angela, as he would normally in their real life. And Angela, you are don't try to act or do anything different than what you normally would.
Okay.
And you're going to act out in real life. So the scenario, scenario is, you all are just getting home from going somewhere, and Thomas is going to get the mail, and you're going into the house. Go ahead, give me an action.
Action.
Hey, babe. Yeah. You won't believe what happened.
What happened?
Mr. Cooper messed up.
What?
Mr. Cooper messed up. And because Mr. Cooper messed up, you see all them zeros? You see that 1? You see that 8? You see them other zeros behind that? This is ours. It's legitimate. It's ours.
Really?
This is our money. Our money. Now, look, I know I just went and got this out the mail, but look, I've been thinking about it. You remember how we were talking about doing the stuff for the deck?
Right.
We got the stuff down there with the window. We got the stuff down there with the sink. Everything.
Okay.
Let's knock it out now. Instead of waiting till this goes too far or it's an issue or anything, we got $18,000.
Yeah, you know I'm not going to do that. How do we know the money is ours?
It's ours. It's written out to both of us.
Let me see the back of it.
Look at the check. It's right here.
I don't know if it's a negotiable instrument or not. And you know I've seen too much fraud on my
Okay,
job.
but it is.
Okay, well, I'm going to get the laptop and I'm going to look and see.
Please, go look it up. Look it up now.
Because if I don't see it, but I still think we need to wait until Monday.
No,
make sure.
but could you? I'm not saying.
I'm not trying to go to jail.
I'm not. Look, I think that you're looking at this situation incorrectly.
Well, the check has to clear first anyway.
I'm not worried about that part. All I'm saying is, could you listen for a second?
We're gonna have to pray on it.
Could you? We've already prayed. What I'm not saying, this exact moment, we need to head to Home Depot
Right, I
or
hear you.
Lowe's.
I hear you.
All I'm saying is that once this has gone through whatever it needs to go through, I'm not saying let's go down to Ace and pop this $18,000 check.
But we're definitely not going to Ace.
Of course
not
not.
with their fees. We're not paying their fees.
But what I am saying is that we have this windfall of money.
Well, I believe in blessings from unexpected sources.
Yes.
However, I want to know, what about the rest of our mortgage balance?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If we're taking care of our mortgage balance, which is what we're doing,
Mm-hmm.
then let's invest in the house.
Well, you know it has to make sense.
And to me, it makes sense to fix those things that we want to fix before they go any further.
I mean, I'd rather pay a few months ahead, but you know that's me.
I feel you,
Right.
but I believe in the Lord also. And I believe that this is not the only mistake that
well,
Mr.
God
Cooper
doesn't
has
make
made.
mistakes.
No, I believe I know that God didn't make a mistake.
Right.
That's why we got the check.
Mhm.
But what I'm saying is that I believe that this isn't the only mistake that Mr. Cooper has made.
I
So
agree.
I believe that there's another check coming. So with this bit that we have right here,
Mm-hmm.
let's take care of the stuff that we can around the house.
Well, we have to make sure everything lines up because I've
Such
seen a lot
as?
of I've seen a lot of mail fraud. So we need to make sure that this is clear.
Okay. Sweetheart,
I trust you, but you know I have to do
I
my
understand
homework.
you trust me,
Yes.
but can we not focus so much on this being a fake check
I'm sorry.
that came from our lending,
You know that's just not how I
from our
operate.
mortgage holder?
I got lots of questions.
I get it.
I got questions.
But all I'm asking you to do in this moment,
Mhm.
once this money has cleared,
Okay.
can we do the home improvements?
Sure.
Please.
Sure. But we just need to make sure everything's good first.
Okay, once we've made
And you haven't mentioned the most important thing, which is our tithes. We gotta
Okay.
pay our tithes out.
Okay, well, cool.
I'm just saying.
we will give that,
Okay.
and that should be fine.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is,
Mhm.
can we do the home improvements with this lump sum of money? Yes or no?
I would say yes, as long as
Okay.
everything lines up. I have conditions.
And scene. Good job.
Good job.
This is our average conversation.
It seems like an average conversation.
Yeah,
You all
it
right,
did.
Thomas? Thomas is more out.
I'm sorry. That was just really
You
very
spent so
good.
much time
Yes.
trying to get
I
me to
understand the
prove the
fraud,
validity of this check.
Yes.
I understand that though.
And it was how we spent the check that was important.
I missed all of that.
That
know.
is so interesting because
Because
I was so focused.
that was completely you.
Yes.
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 And that
tell.
right there, that conversation was going to lead to me going downstairs and sitting in my man cave. And I don't care what you do for dinner. I will see you once I have decided that I'm calm enough
that was
to have a
interesting
regular
because
conversation.
what I saw was Angela. It doesn't matter what the end result of this spending the money is going to be.
Mhm.
Let's first confirm and verify that
Yes,
this is legit
definitely,
money.
definitely.
I don't care what we do with the money. Let's just
Right.
confirm this is legit money.
And that
Yes.
is true.
So
That's
Angela,
me.
I'm sorry, Thomas. Did you know? I don't want to tell you what the scenario is, but can you guess what that scenario is?
Was it pertaining to blind trust? Just going based on what he told me in terms of us receiving the check?
Well, that's a dynamic. We can talk about that. That's a dynamic.
Mhm.
But I guess I'm talking about what the scenario. Do you know the scenario that I gave Thomas?
No. No, I can't say I can pinpoint it specifically.
Mhm.
I
Okay.
would say that, yeah.
Okay, that's good because it makes it creates a real conversation that the two of you all had. So the scenario was somebody messed up on your settlement documents for
wow.
the house that y'all bought,
Okay.
and so there was a $3,800 check.
Yeah, I don't know how Thomas got the 18,000.
I wanted it to be 18,000.
I was like, okay, 18,000.
I was like, okay, all right.
No, because $3,800 sounds like a credit
Too
card
low,
bill,
right.
Right.
and that sounds
It was-
like.
He had to make it.
And I had to bump it up so that way we could,
It'd
even
be a
if we
real
decided that we did that after the fact with the balance, we got enough money to do whatever we
So you
want
took
to
some
do.
creative license and just
Yes,
made
he
the money
did.
different.
Yeah, I made the money different because about 18,000 is what I feel like Mr. Cooper needs to run us right now. I feel like that he's actually brought a prophetic word
I know,
into
right?
our lives right
Gotta
now,
start checking
and
the
then we
mailbox
confirm
every
it.
day.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that was a scenario that you all had a new $3,800, but scratch that 18,000.
Okay.
That Thomas wanted to do one thing with it, but you would likely want to do something completely different with it, and he had to convince you to do what he wanted to do with the money.
Okay.
Yes.
And I see how I got off track.
But you propose. Well, what about the mortgage? Because we've talked about that before. If we did come into a windfall, what we would have done.
Yes.
And we would have put more towards the mortgage.
Right.
So it was like, okay, cool. You know what? I get you. I get you. And I kind of knew you might go that route, but I was trying to get you to not want to go and go on a cruise real quick.
You know me well.
Because I know you hate home improvement. Because I would have
necessary.
It is, but you don't see the value in it right now, spending that kind of money.
Sorry, tapping on the microphone.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we get in trouble. You get in trouble for that a lot. I'm sorry.
I'm like you.
I'm sorry.
Because they're gonna hear the don't on the
okay,
microphone.
no problem. I will not do that again.
That was good.
Scenario.
That was really good. Good job, y'all. Good job.
That was very real life scenario.
You were,
That's why I'm glad.
you were so real life.
Yeah. This smiles came. Okay, what about this?
Is the check real?
Right.
Is it real?
Yes.
And I didn't know how I was going to do that moment, but whatever you needed to do, please go use the computer.
So, okay, so let's get to the main topic that we want to discuss. So
what we talking about today?
I don't know what the title of this is going to be, but the topic that we're going to talk about is why don't Christian men show up to relationship-centered events? This conversation is centered around Bernie and I were watching the podcast My Dear Future Wifey again.
Well, he was at the
Stellar Awards.
Right, but it was his live show.
Right.
Oh, okay. And he had it at the Stellar
He had it at the
Awards?
Stellar Awards, and he had special guests there and so forth.
Yeah.
It was really interesting to watch. I don't know if y'all watched the whole thing, but y'all did?
I watched the last bit of that clip. I watched it to fruition so that way I'd be able to give you an educated response on what was there.
Bits and pieces
it was just I did not rewind it more. I did not start it from the beginning.
Yeah. Well, I watched the whole thing. Bernie, did you? You didn't watch the whole thing.
I didn't see it from the very beginning. I seen it from wherever you had stopped, and then I finished watching from the time when you went back.
The things you do for research. Wow.
Well, that's the thing.
It's a lot.
I'm like just watching the podcast because I'm like, okay, he's got a lot of people on here. Kevin on stage, and Melissa. Marvin Sapp, Lexi. He's got all the.
I love Lexi. She's hilarious.
Yeah, she's funny.
I did see in the comments people weren't feeling her.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I didn't see it from the beginning. I don't know what stuff she was saying.
Angela had pointed that out
a
to
little
me.
aggressive.
That's her personality.
That's her personality. But no, they were like, they weren't feeling her.
Did they love Melissa though, right? In the comments?
Yeah, I believe they did.
I could just tell the audience was feeling Jesus.
No, you're not.
I could just tell the audience every time Melissa would talk. I could tell the audience was feeling her because I didn't see the whole thing.
Yeah, to me,
To
me, Kevin and Melissa were dropping bars. Kevin, Melissa, and Marvin Sapp dropping bars.
And you said the judge and Lattimore. I can't remember her name.
Judge Jenkins.
They didn't talk that much.
They didn't talk that much.
Okay. Anyway.
They're newlyweds.
Kenny spoke a lot on this particular. I think that was the most that he spoke at all.
Yeah,
was there, and then everything he said was wrong.
So during that conversation, something came up that I.
Oh my goodness! Oh my God, you gotta love Thomas.
Something came up during conversation about this woman asked a question and. The panel responded to the question. And I was like, that's something that I kind of struggled with about like men and their interest in relationship-centered topics.
Yes.
And then Jonathan McReynolds, who kind of just moseyed in there as a guest because this was recorded at the Stellar Awards. But when he came in there as a guest, was sitting next to the DJ. He ended up just making a comment that I thought was really insightful. And we're going to jump into the video.
And it's really a long-standing question.
It is.
That
It
has
is.
been going on for years, that everybody in church has been asking, or in or out of church, whatever.
Right.
That has been going on forever. So I thought it was very interesting, Jonathan McReynolds' answer.
Right. So we're gonna you get your headphones out.
Okay.
On the right. You got it. Okay.
Messed up. And so I've queued it up to the point of where the question is about to be asked by a woman in the audience, and then the panel answers the question, and then Jonathan McReynolds answers the question.
Okay, so my name is Bree. I remember. I'm surprised you remember me. All right. So I have an observation. Anybody could give me some clarity on it or what you think the situation is. So being young and getting to know Christ, coming straight in a college ministry, it was like the men or young men at that time, they were I love the Lord and I am out here looking for someone, right? I was very shy, stayed to the back, didn't date. Now I'm 40 years old, saved and serious, and just recently said, okay, you need to be intentional about your personal life. You need to really put yourself out there. It's more than work and church, right? But then I come to events like this. Shout out, went to Jamaica.
Yeah.
And I know that you have a great following of even men. However, the ratio doesn't reflect it. I am, when I would typically be at home, I'm out here, right? I went to Jamaica, right? Why we don't see? Now, worldly men, they're going to go to the club, they're going to go to the bar, they out there, and they are hollering. But Christian men, so what is your perspective as to why they don't seem to show up?
You know, I'm still trying to figure that out.
I want to pause there before he answers or gets to his question. What are your thoughts about that? Just real quick. What are your thoughts about that? She talked about worldly men are out there, Christian men are not out there. She said worldly men will try to talk to you, but Christian men won't.
I would say prior to me getting married the first time, when I was in the church and I was young and I was single, the interest that would come my way came from other Christian men who were in leadership positions. It was largely due to a pressure on them to marry.
Really?
And so a lot of times after a few encounters or dates, there became a conversation about me meeting their family. And it was escalated really fast.
Really? Wow.
And so it kind of turned me off slightly because I felt like I don't even know you yet. And I feel like you're almost just checking a box because now you're in ministry and the very next thing that you're being told is you need a wife. And so a lot of the other Christian men that I saw, they were much older and, you know, they weren't looking at me that way. So I do think there's a focus, but it's not pushed the way that it's pushed on Christian women. Definitely not.
Okay. Interesting. That's a different take of it. It's kind of actually different than what she was saying.
Right.
That may be the person that is the issue. Okay, we'll get back to this.
To be honest with you, I don't know the answer to that. And that's what I want to do. I'm going to do an intentional Adam, Where Are You tour. I want to go find the Adams. I want to go find why they don't.
Hold on.
I'm sorry. I'm not saying nothing. I can't.
I think the Adam Where Are You tour is a good idea.
It's just
He needs to scrap the title.
Yeah,
I don't
the
like
name
the
he
title.
named, that's not going to pull nobody.
No,
Okay.
it won't pull. I don't think. I wouldn't go because I know where I am. But I like the concept.
It's a good idea.
I'm not the audience. I'm definitely not the audience. I'm married, so
it's a good idea. It's just his titles and the way he words stuff is.
Okay.
Yes, please let that play. I want to hear all of this in this
show up.
Yes.
Why in singles ministry is still 90% women. I want to find out why when you have an event. When I did a self-love soiree for Valentine's, and I was like, we're gonna be suited and booted, and we want to have this beautiful curated event. A lot of men ain't gonna go to that, and so I'm still trying to figure out where to go find these guys.
Can we pause this?
Yes.
How I feel like you attract who you put off there. Look at some of the larger churches who have done men's events where they invite everybody, as far as not just their congregation, but they're large enough where they can invite everybody in the city. So let's take a First Baptist for
First Baptist Church of Glenarden.
First Baptist Church of Glenarden.
In Glenarden, it's not in Glenarden.
They're in Kettering now or Upper Marlboro, depending
PG
on
County. PG County.
Right.
But if you look at it, they have sports figures that they market it to. It usually has a masculine name. It has it lets you know that it's men.
The way you said masculine name.
Yes.
That was very deliberate.
I have a hard time believing. I don't want to mess his name up because I don't want to. Lateris.
You want to put that other syllable at the end of the
I do.
name.
Yeah.
But it's
I have a hard time believing that he's looking to do anything with men to promote to men because there's not really any value in it. He knew
for the men?
No, there's no value in it for him.
I don't understand.
I believe that he has his platform and everything set up exactly the way he wanted it to.
Okay.
If you're doing any event for men and you are using feminine buzzwords, self-care, self-love, soiree. Bro, I ain't been to a soiree in my entire life. I've been to some shindigs. I've been to hoedowns. I done been to a whole bunch of places, but I ain't never been to no soiree.
Meet and greets.
He's geared the group has been geared for women. Okay. Because everybody knows women will go after relationship stuff. He supposedly wants to be married again. So who am I attracting? I'm attracting women.
Okay.
If I can get women to buy into my story, I'm getting people to buy into me. He's not looking for a man.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch another brother's journey. Because I don't care. I just don't care. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, the thing is, I understand that they're looking for women, but it's indicative of what the church looks like now.
Okay.
You don't have a lot of men at church. Black churches has been run and the majority is black women.
Right.
Thank God for black women because the majority of black churches would have been closed up by now.
Yeah.
But because they have an easier time of buying in to what's needed and what they need for their lives. A lot of us don't tell us what to do. I'm not giving my money to that man so he can drive another Cadillac. You know, that same, in some cases that's what it was, but these events look just like church did.
So for him, you think that his following and his whole approach is predominantly toward women. So that's why he's not getting no women, no men to come to his events.
Yes, I don't know what the young lady was talking about. There's a group of, you're going to get some stragglers here and there. You're going to get some guys that's going to look just like him. You're going to get guys that that put themselves out there and mold themselves after whatever it is that he's selling. That I'm not buying. I don't have to because I have mine.
Right.
Yes. But even if I was single, and when I was single, it's never. Y'all gotta understand. To get men, it has to be important to us. It has to make some sense.
Okay, I'm gonna pause you right there because we want to get to
and I don't want to dominate this conversation.
Guys, and create something And I'm planning on doing this trip where it's going to be straight focused on men, and then the women can come as a byproduct of it.
Because you need to sell
has
tickets.
an answer. Jonathan McReynolds has an answer.
Come on. Jonathan has an answer.
He has an answer.
Every time I make a face,
Say it with your
mic
chest,
every
my
time.
guy. You say a lot of stuff.
I think a lot of stuff.
You think. Use wisdom, but say what you say.
I am going to use wisdom, Lord.
Yes, pray. Stretch your hands towards him. He got an answer now.
I can answer. I can give an answer to that. I can't answer for all guys or whatever. But here's the thing.
He's buffering. It's okay.
He's buffering.
It's coming.
Did you say buffering?
He's buffering. It's the
I'm
spinning
filtering.
wheel. Yeah. Filtering.
I'm
Yeah.
filtering. One thing that women have to understand about men, particularly the type of men that you guys probably would want, is that relationships are not the number one thing on our mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
It's not the number one pursuit. It's not the
Probably didn't hear that.
would want, is that relationships are not the number one thing on our mind. It's not the number one pursuit. It's not the thing that keeps us awake at night. It's not the thing that we want to grab a whole bunch of books about. It's not the thing that we want to unify to talk about, especially with y'all.
He said with y'all.
The truth of the matter is, in general, when it comes to any kind of content that is about strictly relationships, women are the ones that prioritize that higher. If you want to grab us, just say it's about basketball. Say it's about finance. Say it's about how to get ahead in this and that. Have some really dope barbers there to give us the best haircuts of our life. But at the end of the day, I think, and I don't want to say too much, and this is why I never got on my brother Laterris's panel. It's because there's some huge misunderstandings, some huge gaps between, I believe, how women see things and how men see things. And one of the main sins you're gonna commit if you're a woman is thinking that we're thinking about the stuff that you're thinking about as much as you're thinking about it.
Wow, okay.
Is that a commercial?
Yeah, hold on.
But I think
That's real.
It's real.
That's real. That's real.
You have created, you've analyzed, you've figured out, you're getting more education about it, you're talking amongst it in your group chat, everything. We do that, but about like real estate. We do that, but about like LeBron and the fact that he's not as good as Michael Jordan. You see how you just woke up? See, I'm just saying, but what I'm saying is like, ultimately, and then, because that would inform you and realize that most of the stuff that we even do in relationship is more reactive. It's less thought out. Y'all have plotted out moves. We're making a beeline to the one thing that we want. That depends on how godly the man is. That's all I'm saying is that we aren't there because the places that we are and the places that we really want to fit a woman, we don't live in a world that's centered yet around relationship with a woman.
Fair enough.
That's what I want to pause. So before I open it up, I wanted to share. Bernie and I had an event one time at our house where we were hosting an event for a bunch of millennials, and we invited them over, and we were supposed to be outside, but it turned up being inside because it rained. And there was two men that were from Richmond, Virginia that I had a conversation with. And it was enlightening because they were, young men in their late 20s, early 30s, that were in a position of career where they were growing and they were trying to get as much money as they could. and they had some appeal to women, but they were not looking for relationships. And when I asked them why not, they said because it's hard out here. And I was like, be more specific. Like, it's rough out here in these streets. I was like, be more specific. And they went on to talk about how we're just not focused on relationships like that. It's like that's something that we want to do too. That's not the thing. And it was I guess something completely different from me, because my Generation X, when we came up, it was about you need to find yourself a woman and settle down. That was like the goal. Career was something that was going to happen, but finding yourself a woman and settling down was the goal. So when he said that, I resonated back to that and thought about, is that still the same? Is that the same thing, or is that something different? And so I just wanted to share that and give color and context to, I guess, my comments later. But I wanted to get you all's opinion about that. And Bernie, okay, I want you to weigh in as well.
Why did you say, and Bernie, I want you to weigh in as well? As if I wasn't going to talk.
Because I wanted to acknowledge you. And because I said I wanted to get you all's opinion and Bernie's.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to make it seem like I'm not talking to you.
Oh, okay. Well, what's his name? Jonathan Reynolds.
Yeah.
I thought that was very enlightening what he said, and I think it's totally true. I think it's not on their minds, because we know a lot of young men who are
too many
in their early mid to late 30s, almost getting ready to hit 40. And I always tell they just all gonna be roommates, because they're not looking for it's not.
They don't tell me that. You tell me that.
I tell Heath that. No,
Yeah.
They never told you that.
Right.
I feel like they just all gonna end up, but whatever. That's just my thought. But then it's not. It's just exactly what Jonathan Reynolds said. It's not on their mind. That's not something. It's reactive.
Okay.
I would say two things. The first thing is I do think it depends on upbringing. I grew up in a 2-parent household, and it was 4 of us. My 2 brothers, once they got into their 20s, they were very relationship oriented. Mm-hmm. And so both of them married, at least once. And I think it was because of the example of our parents, because we always saw mom and dad. And so I do think upbringing plays a part in it. I will say that.
So do you think that men nowadays, given their upbringing, lend themselves to pursue relationships? And if that's what you're saying, do you think the culture is absent of those family values that were instilled in you?
Yes. I think that it was almost like a list. You get a good job, you go to college, or you go into the service. You buy a house and you marry, and it wasn't their immediate goal, but it was on the list. But I think now, because there are so many things that you can accomplish without being married, that there isn't as much of a focus, I would say, as it pertains to men. Now, as a Black woman, when I was divorced 8 years before Thomas and I reconnected, and I accomplished many things. I went to school, I advanced in my career, but when I was in my peer group, all I heard about was, when are you going to find a husband? When are you going to marry again? There was so much pressure, and that's hard because we're missing other aspects that I think are just as important.
I think also when we was coming up, there was social media has just completely changed everything.
That's true.
Because that's one reason why I think the men don't.
How so? How has it changed it?
Because I feel like they kind of hide. They don't have to go out and try to woo somebody, whatever. They could just click, slide, and get whatever. It's just, and the time that you would spend taking one person, it's just all on social media. Just pick what you want. All there for you at your hands. You don't have to go anywhere.
I'm trying to see how
I feel like. Well, I just feel like
this what he was saying,
because I feel like they don't. It's no. What do you call it? It falls into the area of them being reactive and never having to go out and do. It's make it very easy for them to be reactive into the state that they already in. They don't have to do anything. So it connects with how they are thinking anyway.
That's a good point, because when
It
he
actually
said
helps it.
when he said that we're reactive, to me that is offensive. Not that he's offending me, but as a person, I take too much responsibility in being proactive.
Yeah.
And so for me, if I'm reactive to a relationship, it's an afterthought. It's something random.
That's exactly what it is
It's something
to
that
them.
that I'm not putting any effort into or any intentionality into.
That's what he said.
Yeah, and which to me, I was like, that's an affront to my whole person.
Yeah.
But
You're a
that's
whole
just me.
yeah,
But
that's
Thomas,
your
But
go ahead.
you gotta remember. Hold on, I'm gonna take my glasses.
Are we
off.
gonna listen some more?
No, we're not
No.
going to listen anymore.
The thing is,
We can take these off.
Yeah.
We're not gonna do the Kevin part.
No.
Okay.
they just. I mean, you look at it nowadays. I mean, for us, when we were in our age group, in order to get some of the things that you were looking for, that under the surface stuff that you were that was ultimately important to you, but you weren't solely pursuing, you needed to be in a relationship to get it.
What do you mean under the surface
You know
stuff?
exactly what I'm talking about. It's the one thing that I'll
you
take the
mean?
gloves off. In order to have sex.
There you go. Okay. I
On
thought
a,
that's what you were talking about.
on a normal basis, on a regular basis.
Right.
Back in the day, we had to be in relationships because that was the way to get it in the most consistent way.
You mean as a Christian?
As a Christian man. So, but nowadays, since
I mean that's true. That's true too, because there were some Christian men that were not married and having the sex.
Yeah. And you and I were both one of them before we got to that point. So but the thing is that nowadays, it wasn't on my mind as far as being serious.
Yeah.
It wasn't on my mind in my 20s being serious. Or it was to a certain degree, but it wasn't my total focus. And I think a lot of times we discount the journey that men have to take in order to become the man that would be a viable candidate to marry.
That is
Do you know how
absolutely
much hurt and pain and unpacking the hurt and pain from childhood, traumas, issues, it took
Breakups,
all
relationship
of
drama.
those things.
Yeah.
All of
It
that.
took before I was ready to really offer myself up as a viable person.
And so I think to
be in a
Jonathan's
relationship with.
to his point, he's saying basically, we're not thinking about the relationship because we're trying to get all these other things.
Go through that process.
Which,
Exactly.
in my opinion, is it's how I'm trying to be careful. It's not the best approach because yes, I know you have to grow and mature and learn and go through things. And I'm not saying don't do that. But I think there's a misconception that men are trying to attain a certain number of material things, cars, houses, real estate.
Right.
They're trying to attain a number of certain things that they think qualifies them or validates their now position to pursue a relationship.
But that's true. Because
I don't think it's fully true. I think it's not wrong, but I don't think it's right.
okay.
Let me explain.
Okay, go ahead.
Because there's certain things that when you get into a relationship, a woman would want to have,
Yes,
and a woman would want to
definitely.
build with you.
Yes.
And if women are, if a man is trying to wait till he attains a certain level of success without a woman, so he can then say, I'm ready. Then when the woman gets there, she's like, I have these things too. Matter of fact, I have more than you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In today's day.
And so now, because
Very true.
a woman has attained some of the same things that a man has, a man is leading with these things that he's offering up as, see, I've got these things. She's like, I don't need those things. Can you communicate?
Exactly.
Can you temper your fury when you get angry?
Yeah,
Do you know how to manage your relationships well? You have the soft skills to be a good communicator and be empathetic. You have those things. So my point is, yes, you can attain those things, but I think what is a prized thing that women have and women value more than the money is, do you have
Character.
those soft kind of skills and
Yes,
character?
definitely.
Okay, but it's part of the journey for a woman also.
Yes, it is.
And it takes a woman a while to get to that person who's willing to look past her ideas. I'm sorry, her ideals, ideas.
Yes, yes.
To say, now this is what I want. Because you hear a lot of, because women, and I will give you your props fully. Y'all have gone out there, taken the blueprint and done everything that you could do with it.
Right.
There are women out there that are reaching levels in industry and everything and blowing the doors off of it. So a lot of guys are catching up. Yes. And in a lot of ways, they believe that if I don't have this, if I don't have that, it doesn't even qualify me to be in the conversation.
And that's what I'm saying is the part that's not right.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And I agree. That's the miscommunication between both of them. Yeah. That most women
but I think it's a belief system. I think it's a belief system that men have, that they have to have these things because either society has told them that, their forebearers have told them that, or they believe they have to do it for some reason. Go ahead.
I feel like that has always been there. Like the men need to have this, that, and the other. But that gap has gotten so large in today's time.
Yes, it has.
That mindset will not work anymore, because the whole time when you were saying it's a way, but it's not right, because women are showing up with their own house and their own whatever. And they don't, and really, they're not looking for, they would like you to have the basics.
Yeah.
And just be able to take care of yourself.
Right.
If you could take care of yourself, my point is they're not minding if you don't necessarily have a house. Don't necessarily, you know what I mean?
Right.
You just have to be able to take care of yourself and then be that viable person that Jonathan McReynolds was talking about when he, just that shows up. I think that's what they're looking for, but I lost my train of thought.
No, you were there. You were there.
Yeah,
you were
definitely.
there. You were there.
They're looking for a partner.
Right.
With equal footing.
I feel like they're not necessarily, because the gap has gotten so large in today's time.
And dating seems more like a competition now. Of who has what. And
between the man and the woman.
Yes, between the man and the woman.
Versus the man versus the man.
Yes. Because it's I have this, you need to have this also. And I get it. I understand it, because no woman wants to be in a situation that would be detrimental to her. And I don't blame women at all for not pursuing any form of struggle love. Why? Not in this day.
I've never heard of struggle love.
Yeah, no, because at one point in time, if you even listen to our music, it seemed like it was something that was, we struggling to do this. We ain't got money to do that. We fussing and fighting. I'm calling like you out your name.
Gospel song.
All of this
gospel
nonsense.
And country song.
And or it was the notion that in order to get the best version of me, I have to put you through some nonsense first.
Right.
And then once I've matured, then now I can give you what you've always deserved.
If that person wants the person that they put the stuff through, because sometimes you put a person through all that stuff
too much,
and then it's like, okay, I've grown now. Now let me go get with her because she is the ideal person for me at this point. And you're the one I used to mess. You're the one I use as a practice dummy.
Yes.
Yeah, they talk about that all the time.
Yeah,
fixing them for somebody else.
Yeah,
yes,
that's true, because I did that to somebody.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, I look at it like this. If I knew what I knew, if I knew back then what I know now, I wouldn't have dated at all. I would have gotten to know women. I would have been their friends or whatever. But being in these mock marriages that our relationships were.
That's interesting. Mock marriages. I like that.
Because that was the stuff that was draining. Tying myself to somebody who wasn't ready like I wasn't ready. What was the point of that? We could have still been cool, dapped each other up, and had a good time and not even spent half of the money that we spent. But
all the time.
Yeah. And all the time that you can't get back. Like, look at all of the stuff you could have done from 20 to 30.
Yes.
That you put off because you were too busy pursuing what everybody was pushing you to. And you know the crazy thing is, mothers in the church, y'all are so evil.
Ooh.
And I want to tell you this. Why in the world would you ask a woman When you gonna get married? Don't you need another piece to that puzzle?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Shouldn't they be putting that on us? Because the pressure been put in the wrong place. And so you're always thinking about relationship.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's one of the things that somebody else said on there that I think Kevin went on to say after that. We won't play it, but he talked about how women are socialized to pursue relationships while men are socialized to pursue like careers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think this is my whole contention about this, and I wrote it in my book, in the forward of my book about the history of relationships and how they came to be in America, is that women were tired of having to deal with the man just doing whatever he wanted and however he wanted and whenever he wanted. And when women came home, when men went to war in World War II in the 40s, and then women had to go into the workplace. They had to go into the steel mill. They had to go into the industrial complex in order to help fund and support the war. But when men came back home, they were like, okay, now get back home. They were like, no, I got money now. I have resources now. I can leave you if I don't want to. And from the part of where 1950s up until 1980 is when the divorce rate, people talk about how the divorce rate was at 50%. It was that time frame when from the 40s after the war to the 50s when it escalated up from like 16% up to 50% and stayed there for 25 years.
Wow.
Yep.
For 25 years. It's because women were like, I'm not doing it. And that's when women were being pushed to go to college and stuff like that. Yep. And women were being pushed by their aunties and mothers, and they saw their mothers struggle about how you should be these independent women.
Women were allowed to vote because first they couldn't even vote.
That was in the 60s, I believe.
See?
Yeah.
All that was happening.
The push for women to vote happened all that time. So there's been this history that has followed American male marriage, I'll say that, that you're supposed to provide and protect and so forth. But the culture, since I would say at least 1980, when that was the line was hit, when women were like, I'm not doing this no more. The culture has been saying, no, women want their own now. And I think you hear a lot of men complaining about modern women. They want these traditional women. And
we talked about this in the last time.
And I used to watch that stuff, but I don't watch it anymore because I realize that they're ill-advised and they don't understand the history, and they don't understand that the issues that women have fought against and the acclaims and achievements that they've pursued are a direct result from men not treating them correctly throughout their relationship journey from the 50s to the 2020s.
Yep. You can't treat an equal person like property.
No,
you can't treat an equal person like property. And a lot of these guys that's talking about they don't want modern women, they don't want this, that, and the other are really upset because she's a better man than you are. And that's been my point for a long time. They do masculine better than you do.
That's true.
That's so true.
And because a lot of those guys, unfortunately, due to the parental structures in our homes, the first person that they've learned to manipulate was mama. And they are so used to mama taking care of them and mama being the sole provider. Oh, I'm sorry.
Mama take care of my
mama to take it in.
Stop your
And
flow.
you know what? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say on that point, men have become such receivers, and I believe, and my sister talks about this all the time. So men have become such receivers from their mama, relationships, and that. Women are supposed to. We're receivers.
Yes.
We receive the sperm. We give you a baby.
Yes.
You give us a house. We give you a home.
Yes. You are the multipliers.
But women have been getting the house. Women have been giving. But what happens when you receive like that? You become feminine. That's why men are constantly because they're receiving, so they become feminine, and the woman is walking around masculine, getting the house, the job. They these big bosses on these jobs because they had to do it, so they're more masculine than these men. It's receiving all this. They're not supposed to be receiving all that.
And part of the reason why they are receiving it is because the absence of the imagery of leadership in the home that they did not see. and they are the ones as children. You're used to seeing mama fix everything. Mama fix everything. Mama, you may have known daddy. And daddy may have been there, but mama was the one who was fixing everything.
Exactly. When you needed something, you went to mom.
Exactly.
When you knew,
make it happen
or when you really wanted it.
Yeah.
Because, daddy might have already had that already prerequisite no, or it was going to be the hardest thing that you could do. But when you, and for even for households that did have dad present,
right,
mom has been the stronger figure.
And you saw mom lock it down.
Yes.
And I don't know, Angela, if you want to talk about how that was with your previous situation. Were you the one who held it down in the family?
Well, when I was married previously, we didn't have children right away, so it was different because the absence of children, the role is different, and so that was an entirely different situation altogether. But what I will say, as one of the things I've struggled with early on with Thomas and I has been relinquishing being the masculine role, meaning as it pertains to the children, because they do still come to me for everything, and a lot of times.
So how many children?
We have 4 altogether, but 2 young sons, and they come to me for everything because for 8 years it was just the 3 of us. So shifting from 3 to 4 and having a strong male figure in the home, it was an adjustment because like Bernie said, I was very much accustomed to running the show, and I ran it because I had to.
You had to run it.
Yeah, so I did what I had to do, and so it's definitely a challenge, but it's hard because this is the environment the society that we live in now.
That was you definitely spoke the truth there. That was an adjustment. That was definitely an adjustment, and I appreciate you for at least allowing me to be to be the strong male figure.
Talk about that process.
No, it was because you got boys.
Yes,
and boys will run over mama.
Yes.
And what ends up happening is that they'll end up overbeating, over yelling in order to strike some form of fear in this child to get them to do what I can just look at them and make them do. And it makes them it makes them a very negative female it makes them a negative representation of women in their household sometimes. And so what I found is that if I can come in and not go crazy, not, jacking kids up left and right, but just providing the balance that we needed in our household, because the household was one way. It wasn't balanced. And the children need the discipline and the sternness from me. It's we're not playing. And that's all it has to be, but because there's so much.
How you doing, Thomas?
Yeah, we're not playing. You know what you're going to do.
That's exactly
but what it does build in young boys is confidence. And we have our youngest son is on the spectrum, and so we'll go places, and there's things he's only going to do with me. If I'm there, I don't know what I did, but I've given him, he feels absolutely confident in doing whatever it is that he needs to do. So we'll go, he used to go to the doctor and flip out, getting shots, all that other stuff. If I'm there, we just have a conversation. I sat there, and the last time he had to get a shot, I just held him, put one arm around him. I said, we're going to do it, right? And he said, yes. And he got the shot, and he was good to go. No flipping out, no nothing. They went to the beach one day without me on a family thing, and she was like, he didn't get in the water. I was like, well, last time he was in the water with me, because I give him a confidence. You're not going to drown. We're going to go have fun.
That's good.
And you're going to be all right.
That's good.
It took communication.
Yes.
And it took transparent moments and just being honest about what we both witnessed growing up. And my father was a very stern presence, but my mother ran the show, and we all knew it. So if we were going to get in trouble, we knew daddy's coming to get you. But if we needed something done, we deferred to my mom. And so that was the dynamic that I saw.
Yeah.
And so a lot of what Thomas referred to with the overbearing and the yelling, I did a lot of that in the early years of my children's life because I was by myself and I didn't know how to, I didn't know how to parent and how to account for the absence. So there are a lot of women a lot of mothers. Yes.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
That was very good.
That was bars.
That was
always dropping them gems. But and that's all it was. It was balance. I mean, I look at where we are now. We don't even have to raise our voices at our children. It's not like we have a oldest son is 13.
Oh, he's 13 now. Okay.
Yeah, and so he's getting into everything that 13-year-olds do.
Yeah,
and we're trying to make sure that we provide space and room for him to communicate with us.
Right.
And it's been the thing that my parents never communicated, especially when it comes to, like girls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like,
still waiting for that.
Why are you going to talk to somebody? I just asked him a question. I was like, why would you talk to someone who has the same limited knowledge that you do?
That's so true.
Like, why would you ask someone who doesn't know either?
Right.
You want to ask people who have the answers.
Right.
That's like when you go to school, you talk to your teacher about what it is that the subject is because they have the answer.
Yeah.
So as far as it pertains to girls and women and all of that other stuff, me and your mother have the answer. And what she's not willing to tell you, I'm willing to tell you.
Yes, it is.
So we can have this conversation.
Y'all
We
be
can
having the
talk about
conversation?
We're trying.
Okay.
He's
creating the foundation.
We're creating it.
Yeah.
We created the space for trust.
Yeah.
And he still thinks he's going to get in trouble.
Right.
Oh,
So it's like, yo, dude, you're not. Look, you're not gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to.
It's a new space for him.
And I'm trying to play the almost the cool uncle role. Like, come on, man, just talk to me. Like, like, dude, I got you.
Right.
I'll tell you what your mama won't tell you.
Right.
One
of the things that because we don't have children, but one of the things that in our experience in working with and coaching with couples who have children, and working with, so I was like the Bible study teacher for the junior high and high school. Bible study back when I was back in the day.
That's good.
For like a long time.
10 maybe 12 years.
That's good work, man.
Yeah. So although we don't have any children, I've seen the children that have been through my class and I've mentored go through this stage. So I've seen waves of children go through this stage. So I've seen that. And one of the things that mothers specifically don't do, and fathers don't do either, but mothers are more capable of doing it, but don't do it, but fathers don't know to do it, is to teach their sons and children, but specifically sons in this case, how to express their emotions. And what I mean is, because there's a difference between feelings and emotions. Feelings are involuntary, they're subconscious. They're things that you feel and you cannot control them. If you feel sad, you can't be like, I'm going to decide not to feel sad.
Right.
Actually, to some degree, you can.
You could decide to work through it.
Yes, but the feeling of sadness is there.
It's still there.
Work through it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So that feeling you cannot control, but your emotions, which is what you emote, the things that come out of you from that feeling, you can control that. So people crying is an emotion of a feeling of sadness in some respect. So what happens with especially teen boys is when they get to that 13 age, when they start, they start waking up and they on bone, and and they don't understand what's going on, or they see a little girl.
Right.
Huh?
I think I know what you're talking about.
Right.
Yes,
I mean, we not to cut you off before it gets too out of control.
Oh my goodness.
But we deal with that around the house, and it's like, hey, dude, go upstairs, take a look at yourself. Go upstairs.
Oh my God.
Because the thing is, you know who doesn't want to see it at all? Your mother. You know who you don't want to see it at all? Your mother.
Yes.
So it's like, hey, go take care of that real quick. and come on back down.
Yeah.
You know, we talk.
So at that age, when you start looking at girls and, you know, she got a fat little booty or something, or she's cute, or she's got pretty hair, or she got whatever it is, you feel a certain type of way.
Yeah.
And if you don't have verb, noun, subject, predicate to attach to that feeling, then it becomes like,
what do?
You just be like,
all
just
of that,
acting silly, or you do stuff that you know how to do. Pull your girl's hair and run, hit a girl, say mean things to her, because you have emotions that you don't know how to put a sentence structure
Not
to.
at all.
And you haven't attached your understanding to these feelings.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what's important is for these young boys, especially at this age, is to attach, for parents to talk to them and say, okay, what are you feeling? What are you thinking? You can start with, what are you thinking? Or what do you think about her? Because they could probably attach what they think about it to words more so than they can do a feeling. And then you do that algebra and say, well, that's a feeling. You feel attracted. You feel like, you know, smitten. You feel lust or whatever. You feel horny. One of them.
Whatever it is.
So they will at least have a way to understand what it is that they're feeling. But if you don't ever get that from your mom or dad, then you just have this absence of understanding, but you know what you want to do. And so that's how men just end up just not really knowing how to talk to women, like some of what we've seen before.
Exactly.
Did your parents have a talk with you, your dad, or your mom?
No, not
So
at all.
what did you do with those feelings when you were 13?
I'd pull girls' hair.
Oh my goodness.
You acted out.
Yeah, you just this, or you just smile or like key, or this is what if you don't have game. If you never learned it, then you fall in the back. You're like, nah, I'm good.
And you won't say nothing.
And you mask it with another masculine bravado of like, nah, I ain't messing with her. I don't like her. She's stupid.
Like,
she's ugly, and I don't like her.
Like you don't care, but
really, you just like, but you've built it up so much so that you don't know what to do. You don't even know what those feelings mean. You know that you want to do something, but you have no idea what it is.
Right.
And that's why you see a lot of grown men.
You know what? And I've never understood those guys that were like that. I don't know what it was. My parents never had a conversation with me, but I knew what I like you meant from a long time ago. And I was never afraid to go out there and act out on what it was that I wanted to act out on. I remember having crushes and being like, all right, Diana from the 4th grade. She was the first.
Diana.
She was, okay. No, because she was like, because I remember, because she was new to the school. And at that time, when you went to a black school, it was really a black school. It was all black. And she was like the first, I think she was Mexican girl that I ever seen. So it was the long wavy hair and the little golden skin. And I was like, who is she?
What's that?
Like, you different. And then, you know, or whatever. And then I found out, you know, she did speak English. So I was like, okay, cool. So, you know, we're in classes together. Because that was back then when they had Esau. And remember, and you had those kids that didn't.
But you are a outgoing person. You have a personality that does not embarrass easily. You're the one who embarrasses.
I'm gonna tell you, I have been embarrassed just as many times as I've embarrassed other people.
But those things don't destroy your personality.
No, because I'd rather have the story. The story's the best thing.
And you be like, oh, okay, I see. Okay, I'm gonna get you back though. I'm gonna get you back.
Yeah.
So some people don't have that.
Don't recover.
They don't recover from it. They shy from it. But I mean, some people, like you have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
Some people, I didn't have.
Which I cannot believe. Knowing the person that I know now.
I did not have any kind of game until after college.
Wow. Okay.
After college. I missed a lot of opportunities back in. I had a little bit of game in high school. I did have some game in high school. But then when I went to college, it all went away because the level of women that I was seeing was like,
it was intimidating.
Okay, I don't know.
Look, dude, you went from kids to grown women. Yeah. That's a big jump.
Yeah, the level of women that were at Hampton were like, oh, these, because there was one girl who was like she was like the finest girl in the school.
Wow.
And so she was fine. I mean, she still is fine. I mean, like for grown women status, she's still fine. But when I went to Hampton, it was like she would just fit in. Instead of being the premium one, she would just fit in.
Oh, wow.
She would just be another.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't
That's
know.
how HBCUs are.
Yeah.
Like everybody,
It is.
I ain't never seen so many pretty people in my life when I went to school. And I'm talking about men and women. Like, I'm like, wow, this is amazing.
Like they got blacks that look like that.
Right.
Whoa.
And I'm not even talking light skin. I'm talking about dark, pretty people. And I mean, it was all colors. It was like beautiful.
And that, and you know what? And it's crazy that, you think about, you didn't go in all those years.
Yeah.
And then you go to school and then you see us in all these different shades and these different hues and from different places and then the accents. And, and it's like, oh, wow.
It's amazing.
All of this. And you were missing out on that.
Yeah. Because I went to, I'm from California. So I went to like a junior, before I went away to Howard, I went to Howard. I went from high school to a junior college in Hayward. It's in California, Chabot. I would be the only black person sitting in class.
Wow.
At a junior college. I mean, and that was just normal. So I went to Howard. I was like, what is all this blackness? It was, oh my God, it was
Mumbo sauce and go-go and black people.
It was beautiful.
You didn't know what to do with yourself.
Oh my gosh, it was beautiful.
But I think this is a great conversation that we're having. I want to cut it short now because I know we're running late on time. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Thomas and Angela, for coming through.
Yes,
no problem. Anytime.
Enjoyed the conversations. Definitely, would you please come back? I'd love to have you again.
Definitely.
Sure, definitely.
And if you enjoyed this content out there, please like, comment, subscribe, do all the things that people on YouTube tell you to do. Anything else you want to say?
Nope.
Okay. All right, y'all. Thank you. Let us know in the comments what your thoughts are about where men are in the dating space and in some of the other conversations that we had. All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.